News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. Surprise level of oil production hikes from OPEC Plus, the cartel increasing its supply by about 548,000 barrels a day next month, exceeding expectations to capitalize on strong summer demand and reclaim market share, especially when Saudi Arabia is concerned. Bloomberg's Grant Smith.
They had been increasing oil production at triple speed the past few months, and now they are deciding to go even faster. It had been an increase of 411,000 barrels per day in May, June, and July.
Bloomberg's Grant Smith in London. Tragedy continuing to unfold in central Texas. At least 24 people are dead amid a catastrophic flooding situation in the region. Dozens are missing, including from an all-girls summer camp along the Guadalupe River. Governor Greg Abbott.
So many people have been swept up into an extraordinary catastrophe.
Weather officials are forecasting additional rain with ongoing threat for possible flash flooding in certain areas today and tomorrow. In the Middle East, Hamas ready to start negotiations with Israel on a 60-day ceasefire proposed by President Trump. It includes returning half of the 50 hostages it ends and pursuing mediated talks. President Trump to reporters last night.
We have to get it over with. Hamas has said we have to get it over with. We have to do something about Gaza.
The proposal has been accepted by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and President Trump and Netanyahu will be discussing this during Netanyahu's visit to Washington on Monday. An agreement would pause or end the war between Hamas and Israel that has been deadly and ongoing since October of 2023, particularly deadly for the Palestinian side, killing tens of thousands of Palestinians and devastating Gaza. Investors this coming week also keeping close eye on trade issues and the impact of that massive tax and spend bill signed by President Trump yesterday. S&P finished at a record high Thursday before the long holiday weekend, partly on a stronger than expected jobs report. Kevin Gordon, senior investment strategist at Charles Schwab.
There are, certainly cracks still in this labor market, but when you look at a headline number with payroll surprising to the upside and the unemployment rate falling and surprising to the downside in a good way, that tends to be a pretty good mix.
Meantime, Jeff Rosenberg, senior portfolio manager at BlackRock, sees a glass half empty here, though.
This is a slowdown and a little bit disappointment on the private payroll side. You look at private services, it's well below 68,000. It's well below the 6-month average. Not like earth-shattering here, but this is the slowing in the job market that we are expecting.
Rosenberg on the Bloomberg Surveillance podcast, which you can download wherever you get your podcasts. Investors are keeping an eye on trade issues with that looming July 9 deadline the Trump administration is talking about for striking trade deals with other countries or else. President Trump said yesterday about 10 or 12 letters would go out on Friday to offending countries about trade, with additional letters coming over the next few days, and countries would start to pay tariffs. These new tariffs on August 1st, the tariffs could range from 70% to 10%. The U.S. and Canada could soon reach a new trade deal, according to the U.S. ambassador to Canada. Both President Trump and Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney have agreed on a July 21st deadline to reach an agreement. And sources say talks between the EU and the U.S. are continuing on a possible trade agreement, with a technical agreement in principle close to being reached, they say. The EU, according to the sources, pushing for tariff relief in exchange for increasing investment in the U.S., while also seeking quotas and exemptions on certain products and a 10% universal tariff on many exports. In tennis, women's singles at Wimbledon, top-ranking Aryna Sabalenka staving off an upset bid by resurgent Emma Raducanu by beating the home favorite in the third round at a raucous center court last night. And Carlos Alcaraz, or Alcaraz as some like to say, keeping his Wimbledon three-peat campaign chugging along by beating Jan-Lennard Struff to reach the fourth round. And also in sports of a sort, joyful Parisians taking a historic plunge into the Seine after 100 years. Cries of "It is warm" ringing out across the Seine this morning as Parisians jumped into the river legally for the first time in more than 100 years. Public swimming being allowed into designated areas, including 2 newly built wooden decks near the Eiffel Tower and the Ile Saint-Louis in central Paris. Line of eager Parisians forming, towels in hand, waiting for their chance to jump in. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. This is Bloomberg.